Hello everyone, welcome. I hope you're all doing well. This lesson is a request from one of my students. I was asked to review gender in French language. What we mean by gender is the gender of nouns in French. So what exactly do we mean by that when we say gender in the French language? When we talk about gender, we're talking about the gender of nouns. In French, we have what we call masculine nouns and feminine nouns. When you start learning French, you'll hear other students and teachers talk about nouns, and they will say that, oh, that noun is masculine or that noun is feminine. So what exactly do we mean by that? Well, my first piece of advice is when you hear gender of nouns or gender in the language, don't get hung up on the idea of biological gender. So this is not biological gender that we're referring to. It's better to think of it as grammatical gender. So, okay, so then what exactly is grammatical gender? Well, grammatical gender is just something that is arbitrary. It's made up. It's arbitrary. Again, it's arbitrary. It's made up. This is just a device that we use to categorize nouns that have different articles. Okay, so what is an article? Well, an article of a noun is the little word that comes before the noun. So we know that some nouns are quote unquote masculine and some nouns are feminine. Remember, grammatically masculine, grammatically feminine. So how do we determine which noun is masculine and which noun is feminine? Again, it's arbitrary. You just have to memorize this as you learn each noun. So for nouns that are grammatically masculine, the word for the is going to be le or the L apostrophe. If a noun is arbitrarily designated as grammatically feminine, the word for the is going to be la or an L apostrophe. Another way of looking at this would be to say, well, if you see a le in front of a noun, that means it's masculine. If you see a la in front of a noun, that means it's feminine. If you see an L apostrophe, you have no way of knowing because L apostrophe can be masculine or feminine, and we will look at that in just a second. Okay, so le is arbitrarily masculine, la is arbitrarily feminine. This is what we call the definite article. We use the or the when we are referring to something very specific. For example, where is the book that I bought you yesterday? Have you seen the key? We're talking about something very specific. We have another type of article. We have an indefinite article, and that is a or an in English. If the noun is masculine in French, then the indefinite article will be un. If the noun is feminine, then the indefinite article or of the equivalent of a or an will be une. Okay, and we can put that all together. For masculine nouns, the will be le or L apostrophe, a or an will be un. For feminine nouns, the will be la or L apostrophe, a or an will be une. It's all so much better if we have a concrete example. So, how do you say book, the book specifically in French? Well, you would say le livre. Why le? Because livre is grammatically masculine. If you look it up in a dictionary, it will tell you that the word is masculine. It takes le. The word for chair in French is grammatically feminine, so if you want to say the chair, it would be la chaise, la chaise. Let's take a look at the indefinite article. If I want to say a book in French, this would be un livre, un livre. A chair une chaise, une chaise. So just to summarize, the book, le livre, a book, un livre. The chair, la chaise, a chair, une chaise. Remember, livre is just arbitrarily grammatically masculine, and chaise is arbitrarily grammatically feminine. Someone will probably ask in the comments, so here is the answer. What about the case of the L apostrophe? What's happening there? Well, the word tree in French is arbre. So arbre is a grammatically masculine word. If you look it up in a dictionary, it will tell you that it's masculine. Normally, masculine nouns will take a le for the definite article, but arbre begins with a vowel sound. Because of that, instead of using le, we use an L apostrophe. If you look up the word hour in a dictionary, you'll see that it is grammatically feminine. Heure, heure. Now, heure begins with a vowel sound because the H is silent. Because it begins with a vowel sound, instead of using la, we're going to use the L apostrophe. That's the reason for the apostrophe there in both of these cases, because the noun begins with a vowel sound. So the hour, l'heure, l'heure. In the case of the indefinite article, well, there's no problem, there's no confusion. A tree, un arbre, an hour, une heure. So altogether, there you have it, the tree, l'arbre, a tree, un arbre, the hour, l'heure, an hour, une heure. So remember, this is probably the most important takeaway from this lesson, is that the grammatical gender of nouns must be memorized as you learn them. Native speakers do this. They have to learn the gender as they learn the nouns. So you can do the same, no problem. Just takes practice. The next important thing that you need to know, and you will encounter this as you continue to study French, is that adjectives have gender too. Remember, an adjective modifies a noun, so if the noun is grammatically masculine, the adjective has to have the masculine form. If a noun is grammatically feminine, the adjective has to have the feminine form. So they must agree. Here's a nice example. If you look up the adjective green in a dictionary, you'll see the masculine form, vert, and the feminine form, verte. So this is masculine, this is feminine. When you're using green or vert to modify a masculine noun, you have to choose this form. If it's a feminine noun, you have to use this form. A nice example, if you want to say a green bike, you would say un vélo vert. Un vélo vert. Vélo means bike or bicycle. A green car. The word for car is grammatically feminine, voiture. So a green car would be une voiture verte. So we have vert and verte. And those are the most important things that I can tell you about the gender of nouns in French. So thank you so much for watching. If you found this helpful, I would appreciate it very, very much if you'd give it a like. If you are new to my channel, I'd like to say welcome. And whether you're new or not, I'd like to remind you of a couple of things. Be sure to explore my channel here. Under courses, I've put all of the lessons together in a playlist. So here's the course, just click on that, and you will find all of my lessons in order. Just start from the beginning. Start with number 1 and just follow them in order. My philosophy on learning a language, my approach to teaching, is that there really is no one best way to learn. The best way to learn is by using the combination of methods, techniques, courses, free apps, whatever, the combination of all that that works best for you. So my suggestion is just explore all of the options that are out there, all of the free options that are available for you. You can use my course kind of as a template or a backbone to your studies and use other methods, other courses to help you fill in the gaps. So my course is just designed to be simple, straightforward, and to give you a nice overview of all of the important aspects of the language. So I invite you to watch all of my lessons in order. So the other thing about my website is be sure to have a look at the playlists. These are all short videos grouped together by topic. So let's say, for example, you are studying the verb arriver and you want to see a whole bunch of examples of the verb arriver, very brief examples, all in one place. Just click on the playlist and watch all of the videos in order. These short videos are also designed to help you with pronunciation. It's usually slow and careful pronunciation, syllable by syllable. So welcome again. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you in the next lesson. See you soon. À bientôt.